hello to everybody. I hope everybody has a happy holiday season. We haven't seen you since NC State, and really proud of the way the guys played, especially the second half. We had trouble standing up the first half and slipped a lot on both sides of the ball. And, made some adjustments at halftime, and it's the best third quarter we've had since we've been here for sure. And I did feel like with the Mercer game, as much better as we were than they were, that the guys had fun and got a lot of confidence, and really enjoyed seeing each other make plays. And it was kind of funny that ended up leading to a lot of confidence for NC State, I thought. But the guys weren't panicked at halftime. They knew we should have been doing better than we were, and came back out and had a great second half. And then when you beat your rival and you go out recruiting, it really helps you because all the high school coaches are happy for you and the kids. So that was a big win and an important win for us, and it puts us to the next step, which is the bowl game. And we're excited that we're going to the Military Bowl for a number of reasons, but it's close. So all of our guys can drive, and they get to make money because they get mileage, so they'll all hop in a van, and a bunch of them go up together, and they get to split the money. So that helps them for one thing. And then it's also close enough for a lot of our fans to get there, and the parents can go see their children play, and also the high school coaches. So and we also want to recruit a lot in the Northern Virginia and Maryland area. So we'll have an open practice, our first practice there on the 23rd, and all the recruits can come, even though we can't talk to them because it's a dead period, but their high school coaches can come, and also any of our fans and boosters can come and bring their children. So we felt like that would be good to have the first open practice up there, just from a recruiting and a fan standpoint, and of course you all, if you want to be there. We always want you to be at practice. Playing Temple, I was fortunate enough to call one of their games about all 3 or 4 years that I did Friday night football. So I watched Coach Collins at Temple. I saw him do a great job, and I saw Matt Rule at Temple, and see the Temple Tough was their motto, and all the guys with single-digit numbers had to earn it from the coaches, and they had to earn it in the offseason about being their toughest and best players. And then I actually called one of Rod Carey's games. I called a championship game for him at Northern Illinois when he was playing Bowling Green. So I know quite a bit about Temple and about Coach Carey, and Coach Carey worked with Dave Dorn at Northern Illinois, and they were all very successful there. So he's a tremendous coach. They really are good in both lines of scrimmage, and that front seven on defense will take your head off. And they've got Quincy Roche, that's the Defensive Player of the Year in the American Conference. He's a tremendous pass rusher, but a great player. And they beat Georgia Tech, they beat Memphis, and played Cincinnati down to the end. And Cincinnati and Memphis were the two that played for the championship in that league. So they're a great opponent for us. As far as our health, you know the guys that are out for the year. Other than that, everybody's ready to play unless we've announced them out for the year. So we should have more depth than we've had, and that'll help us. We've had very physical practices here the first couple of days. We'll have 4 in a row, which is unusual. So we'll practice. We practiced Saturday morning in shorts to get them to come back and get them going. We always practice the first day back for bowl practice in shorts because of Rick Steinbacher. We were playing West Virginia in the Gator Bowl, and we came back and had an inside drill in pads live, and he broke his wrist and was our captain, didn't get to play. So at that point, I decided since that day we have not gone in pads our first day of bowl practice because I want them to get back in the routine of football and low pads and protecting themselves because they've been off for 2 weeks for finals. But the guys have competed. They'll practice again tomorrow morning, and then we're taking off for signing day. So the coaches will have their full day to get their job done with recruits and have a great signing day. And then we have a signing day party Wednesday night. And then we'll come back and practice Thursday, Friday morning. They'll go home. They'll be home for a day and a half or so. And then on the 22nd, they have to be at a 6 o'clock meeting at D.C. So they'll have a little bit of time at home, and then we'll have Christmas there. So we have a lot of things planned for them for Christmas Day, and it'll be a lot of fun. As far as our juniors, right now, every junior has told us they're coming back. Obviously, that can change, but Coach Moody sits down and talks to every one of them about their draft status and what they need to improve if they are going out, and what some of the concerns would be of the scouts, since he's done that for 19 years. And right now, they're all saying that they would like to come back. Signing day, we're planning on signing 25 guys as of right now. Obviously, you never know on signing date, but that's what we have plans for, and we've been told by all 25 that they are coming. So hopefully you never want drama on signing day unless it's positive drama. And you don't have many surprises that are good on that day. Sometimes you have some that aren't good, but usually it's if you have one, it's not good. Questions?
Last year on signing day, you had a nice surprise with Sam. Watching him play, he's just kind of a chill, flatline guy. What's the most excited you've ever seen him? And do you like that in a quarterback, that he's always even keel?
I saw some emotion when he threw the touchdown pass at the end of the Miami game. And I saw some emotion at the end of the Duke game when we won, and I saw emotion, a lot of emotion in the third quarter against NC State. But what I saw, Jeff, more than anything else, is him starting to learn to lead. And he knows how to lead in high school, but you're overloaded as the quarterback. You're trying to learn what to do, and it's hard until you've proven yourself to start leading everybody else. And then even in the Mercer game, after he broke his record, the whole team was so excited for him, which I thought was good. And then he, anytime we had a young walk-on go down and make a great play on kickoff, Sam's the first one to go see him, and he's down talking to the defense and special teams now. So he's really matured as a leader, and I thought that was never more evident than they voted him captain. So for a freshman to be captain is pretty cool by the vote of the players.
Mack, how soon after you got the job was Sam Howell? What was his name mentioned to you?
I think before I took it, Sam was a player, a great player in this state that we felt like we had to have. We knew we had two quarterbacks here that both played and gotten hurt. So we didn't know if Sam would be concerned about that. He never even asked. It wasn't an issue. He didn't care who's here. And he loves to compete. And his questions to me, along with his parents, were, what kind of offense you going to run? Who's going to be the offensive coordinator? That was it. There was nothing else, because I think he grew up wanting to come here. And we needed to be cool enough for him to come here, and it needed to fit what he wanted and what he needed. And then when I hired Coach Longo, because I was talking to his dad about every day, you got anybody yet? And I said, no, I'm kind of busy. I got a few other things going on. But when we hired Phil's first stop was Sam, and then after that, I think Sam felt really comfortable with Phil and the offense, and Mom and Dad felt comfortable, and we felt really good after Phil was hired that we would be able to get Sam.
And what was that first impression that you got in your face-to-face with him like compared to maybe some of the other quarterbacks you recruited?
Well, he was very quiet. He'd never met me. He's not a talkative guy anyway, and I think he was trying to figure me out. What's this deal? Or why'd you come back? Who are you going to hire? So really, the only questions they had, it was kind of like, call me back when you get an offensive coordinator, and we'll talk again. But before then, I can't. And I told him we wanted to run an offense like Oklahoma. That's who we were going to be. We were going to have the passing concepts of an air raid offense with a power running game. And that's who we are. And then he said, I got it. That sounds great. That's what I want to do. There's a lot of RPOs, but give me a name. And then we all, I looked at 2 or 3 different guys, and as soon as I got Phil here, I said, your first stop has to be in Charlotte. So he hit it immediately.
When you have a young quarterback like Sam, have you had to coach leadership with him, or do you kind of sit back and watch how it happens sort of naturally for him?
You have to let it happen naturally, because he's got so much on his mind, and this quarterback, or this offense is so quarterback driven that he's got a lot to think about and a lot to do, and he's got to be ready every practice to go out there and make decisions. So we felt like that the summer work was important, that he earned some leadership qualities from the guys over summer, because I asked them and they said, oh yeah, he's a great leader. And so he was doing some things behind the scenes, but then we wanted to see it out here and on the game field during the game, and that just naturally came to him.
Mack, with 10 practices before the bowl game, how do you approach those in terms of working strictly with the ones and twos and then trying to get the younger guys some snaps?
We are taking, Greg, these practices, and we're working part of them like spring practice for the young ones. And we have told the young ones, you are earning playing time right now in spring practice. So we have 15 practices in the spring, 3 of them are in shorts, so you really got 12. So this is a spring practice for us. So we are taking those guys, and anytime we're putting them in inside drills, we're really being physical with the young guys and asking them to compete so we can see exactly who they are if they haven't played a lot this fall. And then on Thursday morning, I will take the highlight film of all the guys we signed, and especially the 12 that are coming in early, and I'll show these guys, here's who you're going to be competing with. So 12 will have a chance in spring to compete with you. The other group will have a chance when they get here in June. But understand, it's not just guys that are on this campus now that you're competing with. You're competing at a higher level. And we're going to bring in some really good players that will make it much more competitive. And then you're still working on Temple every day. And what you'll do is when we leave here and go to D.C., it'll be all Temple. We will not do anything other than Temple there. But here, we feel like that there's a lot we can get done with young ones to evaluate them.
You talked about your opinions on the early sign-up period and some of the challenges there. With this being your first kind of bowl season with the early sign-up period, has that made it more difficult? Has that made it challenging?
It hasn't. I tried to see all 12 guys that are coming in early before they get here because I wanted them to be there, and I think I've gotten 11 of the 12. One I'll have to go to later, and it'll be local, so it'll be easy for me to have him run home and sit. And then I'll see all the other guys in January that are coming in June. But for us, if your bowl game is on signing day, which some of them were last year, I think it's a disaster. I mean, I can't even imagine you're trying to get guys in the morning and play the game in the afternoon. But ours will be good because we can get it done. We actually take a day off because we've had 4 straight practices, and it'll divide the last 2. And our coaches and our players really didn't want to practice on signing day because we all felt like it would be probably a distraction for them. But I don't think it's been a problem at all. I really think, Greg, the biggest issue is the new coach. It's a nightmare for the new coach. If you're Jeff Scott in Central Florida and you're preparing for a playoff and trying to hire staff and trying to recruit while you're practicing at another school, that's more difficult than I had it last year when I came in here and just had to get a staff together. I didn't have any practices. I didn't have any bowl. I didn't have a team I was leaving. So all that makes it much more difficult.
On the subject of getting ready for a playoff or a national championship a couple of times in your case, how different are those bowl practices based on what you're trying to accomplish as opposed to playing at any other bowl?
They're not different at all. I think for our guys, I think, Jeremy, when we ask how many that were playing have been to a bowl, there were 5. We asked how many beat Duke, there were 5. We asked how many beat State, there were 5. So this is really important to these seniors that they win. So whether it's a playoff game or a national championship or a winning season, it's all about your circumstances. And it's really important for our guys to have a winning season.
What have you found to be over the years the biggest challenges for guys playing in their first bowl game? Or do you feel like it's less pressure?
No, the biggest challenge, Jonathan, is that when they get to the bowl game, there's activities, and the routine is totally different for guys who haven't done it. So a lot of teams get tired by the bowl game because they're practicing, they're up walking around way too much, and they're not taking care of themselves. So we've always tried to say, get in bed. Save your legs. And our practices are a little bit different there than they are here because they're lighter there. Because we know when our Monday practice there will be Tuesday because we're playing on Friday. So we don't have a lot of time to prepare when we get there, so we want to make sure that we're fresh for Friday.
Where are y'all practicing up there?
I think at Georgetown. We'd have to, let's get all that information for the guys and make sure Corey's done all that. So I've heard it change about 3 times, so.
Staying in DC?
We're staying in DC at the Mayflower Hotel, which I think is right there near the Capitol.
Did you really think a year ago that this could be a bowl team, the more you got to know them?
You know, I said it the day I met them, and then at some point in there, I thought I might have overloaded myself a little bit, but I really felt like in spring we were pretty bad on defense. And then the new guys came that had been hurt, and I saw some hope, and then we got a bunch of guys hurt again. But I felt like, Jeff, in preseason that we could be a bowl team. And obviously Sam had to come on after we decided he was the guy, and then Cade Fortin left, and then you lose Jace Reuter. So it's been amazing that we've been able to make it through navigate through those waters without him getting hurt. But it also really hurts your offense, and especially goal line and short yardage offense when your quarterback can't run in a spread offense, because that's a huge part of this. So I do feel like some of our red zone issues, some of our short yardage issues were him not being able to run. And it was me. I told him not to run him because we needed him for the rest of the games.
With Chaz's impact on the defense, would it be similar to what Sam has had on your offense?
Yes, Chaz is I think, even a more remarkable story than Sam, because the first time he'd ever played linebacker was in the South Carolina game. And Jeremiah Gimmel had not played linebacker in a game at that point either. So we go into the South Carolina game with 2 guys who had never played a college game at linebacker, and one of them who the year before was a quarterback. So it's just amazing to see how much he's improved and what he's done and how hard he works and how smart he is. And I'm really, really proud of him. I didn't know if he could do it or not, very honestly.
At what point did you kind of say, yeah, he can do it?
It wasn't spring. We actually felt like in spring that he struggled enough with instincts and knowing what to do that we said, he's such a great athlete and he'll hit you and he's trying hard. We may have to blitz him a lot and just put him in and not make him think, but bring him off the edge. But he was going to play. And then after the South Carolina game, we realized this old boy can be good. And he just kept getting better and better.
What part of his game, by the time you got to NC State, was so much better, more so than any other part from the first game?
I think his instincts. Jay and Tommy have done such a great job of teaching him. And I do think the fact that he was a quarterback and knows offense really helps him. But he and Tommy and Jay can sit there and they'll say, here's what they're going to do out of this set, and here's what, and he knows all that. He's very, very smart, but I do think the quarterback background helps him analyze the play even before the snap.
Did you sense that he had to sell himself to his teammates as a linebacker early on?
I did. I think that's why in the team meeting when he stood up and said, hey, I want to apologize to all of you that I didn't earn my scholarship as a quarterback. Now I realize you all sweat and you hit and you run. These are really hard practices. So I'm all in. They all laughed, but I think they did appreciate him acknowledging that.
Mack, was there any specific moment after the state game that it really hit you what it meant to the players, and maybe even, well, I say with the players, what it meant to be in a bowl game in Florida?
I think we saw them at the state game. We meet them on Sunday, but they don't know where they're going yet. And then I'm in New York with Vince Young when the announcement's made, so I had to Skype for the announcement, and Jeremy had his phone, so I could hear them screaming and yelling and giggling, and because you always wonder about, well, I hope they like where we're going and all this. They didn't care. They were so excited, and they've been that way at all the practices. So I think the first time it hit me is the Sunday announcements when they finally realized, and even though at Skype I could still hear through the phone how excited they were. And then to watch them, they've got a buzz about them and a confidence about them right now that's fun to watch. So I think that's the biggest thing. And it was interesting, when we played Wake, I didn't get a feel that our team knew how important the in-state game was with Wake. It's okay, but we didn't seem to have a buzz, and we didn't play very well. And then we play Appalachian the next week, and same thing. I just thought, what's the deal, man? This is important. And it was okay. I mean, they're good. we'll be okay. By the time we got to Duke, I thought they really understood that for our fans and our university and the state, winning the in-state games is really important. And then I know by the time we got to NC State that they understood the importance of that game, and it's one that they just hadn't won. So I felt like beating NC State and going to a bowl at the same time was really a key moment for this team, and that's the happiest that I've seen them.
For perception and recruiting, how different is 6 and 7 versus 7 and 6?
I don't think it matters. It matters to us, but they know we're headed up. I mean, I really think, Ross, people always used to ask, if you beat State, does it matter in recruiting? Most of the kids decide where they want to go. And if you beat Duke, does it matter by 1 point? Nah. I mean, if they want to go to Duke, they're going to go probably, and they're not going to let a close game matter. Or everybody used to ask the Texas OU game, does that matter that much? It matters if you beat them 3 or 4 times in a row. I don't think it matters for one game. And people know that we're getting better. They saw we were one of the few teams to sell out all the games. They saw our fans show up. They see our facilities. They see our recruiting. In fact, some major schools are recruiting against us now, saying, I'm going to quit. I'm too old. And I thought, well, how cool is that? That's a great compliment that we got somebody recruiting against us in our first year. I really think I want to win. The players want to win. The seniors want to have a winning season. The players want to have a winning season. You want to win 3 in a row because we haven't done that in a while, but I don't think it'll affect recruiting.
Matt, going back to what you said about Sam in terms of you telling Phil not to run as much, can we expect to see him run more in the years to come?
Yes, absolutely. Our quarterback will be a factor running. And that's something, we were going to do it with Jace some too, and first play he gets in against NC State, he fractures an ankle and a knee, against Appalachian State. And that really set us back. That was a huge setback for this team because we were going to play Jace a lot more and have both of them in there and have 2 packages like we started at Wake Forest because we'd like to play 2 quarterbacks some. But I feel like in this offense, your quarterback has to run. The plays that Vince Young and Colt McCoy made with their feet were huge for us. And when you've got everybody spread out, this game has become a game of where if people spread out, they try to run the ball. And if you spread everybody out and they spread out and you can't run the ball, you're going to get beat. And then when you're running the ball, they got to bring everybody back in, and then you got to beat a guy one-on-one outside, or you got to cover a guy one-on-one outside. That's the game. That's just what it is. It's so there's going to be 15 individual routes a game outside that are one-on-ones. And if you can stop the run and pass rush with 4 and play zone or man, it gives you a great chance. But like after Clemson, we had to either get everybody in the box and play man up to man, or we had to play zone and give up the run. I think that's just where we are with a quarterback. And when you're spread out in man and they rush by you, there's nobody there. And the quarterback's got to make plays because he's the one that's not counted for. Same thing with zone with a 4-man rush if everybody's dropping on those 3rd and 4s. And 3rd and 4, goal line, 1st and goal from the 9, that's when your quarterback can make your 4 yards and make a huge difference.
And Jace is out for the whole game?
Yes. He will not, and therefore, hopefully he'll get his year back. We're going to appeal to get his year back.
Coach Brewster said in the spring that one of the main reasons he came back and joined you here was unfinished business, obviously alluding to your first time here. How far along were you in the process of achieving that? Are you maybe where you thought you'd be, or perhaps even a little bit ahead?
I think I hoped we'd go to a bowl, but I think we're ahead of where I thought we would be because the facilities got improved so quickly. I love the fact that we've got the turf. The high school games, I was so proud after watching the games in the mud last year, watching those teams play this weekend. I didn't get to see them, but watching them, hearing them, seeing them on Twitter, they were so excited, and we've gotten really nice emails from the coaches. So having that in place is huge for us. Knowing that we're headed toward another big step in facility improvements at some point here soon, all that's further along than this time last year when we got here. I like our staff. I think they fit. They worked with each other well. They got to know each other better as the season went on. I think they're a dynamic staff recruiting in this footprint between DC and Jacksonville, Florida. So everything is in great place for us moving forward.
Can you share what that next facility improvement is?
Yeah, at some point, and we're in the process of raising the money now, we've got to enlarge the whole bottom floor. The rest of the building's really good, but we will, we'll move the training room into the locker room. We'll move the locker room to the weight room, which will be, it's a 6,000 square foot training room and 8,000 square foot locker room. And then we're going to knock out the front of the building on the bottom floor and build a 19,000 square foot weight room. And then you'll probably enter and go up the second floor. So we've got that in the plans. It's been in there for a while, but now it's a real possibility.
Matt, you mentioned teams recruiting against you, saying maybe you're done. Is that one reason you signed that extension earlier this week?
Well, I wanted the extension, so I thought that was good. That's one reason, but it is at this stage in my career. Coaches get jealous because we're doing too well and we're recruiting too well and we won more games than they wanted us to, and they know how powerful this place is in this state, especially when you're winning and you're the cool place to be. So I'm really flattered that the only thing they can say is I'm not going to be here. I thought that's pretty cool. Usually there was a long list of stuff, and so our coaches are coming back and say, Coach, they're saying you're out of here, and I said, well, I'm not. So just tell them I'm here. I'm going to coach here as long as I can. As long as I'm effective for North Carolina, I will be the football coach here.
Coach, what does it mean to get a one-year extension, though? Maybe were you pushing for something longer since you are expressing your desire to remain here?
No, what I told them that I wanted was a rollover, basically. So every year I'd like for that to go back to 5, and I want to keep it at 5. And that's it. I want to be honest with everybody, and I'm going to coach why everybody that's coming are going to be here, and as long as I'm healthy and we're winning, I'll keep rolling it over. And that's really important to me to say, put it out there 15 years. I can't promise somebody I'm going to do that, or even 10. So I thought that 1 year rollover was the best.
Mack, after you agreed to come back, you've been gone for 5 years. Was there any apprehension of, I'm pretty sure I want to do this, but I'm not exactly sure how a full year is going to go? And at what point did you realize, yeah, this is great?
Craig, it's an interesting question because we did it so quickly. We didn't think about it. And I mean, it was Bubba calling, me calling Sally and saying, you said Hawaii, you said the Bahamas, you said Chapel Hill, Bubba just called and offered us the job. And she got quiet. She's in Austin. And she said, let's do this. And that's it. I mean, we didn't discuss it. We didn't talk about it. And then the next day we're here. So probably it's like when we won the national championship, we were so busy, and Vince Young left the next day or two, and we didn't go to the White House till Valentine's Day. I think it was Valentine's Day before we realized we won the national championship at the White House with the president. And all the players are walking down the White House steps, and Sally's crying like a 2-year-old. And I'm sitting up there with the president and first lady. So after it's over, I said, what's wrong with you? She said, I just realized we won the national championship. I said, yeah, it's 2 months ago, sweetie. So, but you didn't take time to do it. I think I jumped into this. And if you can imagine now, I get here on the 27th maybe, and I take the job and have a press conference the 28th. And then Bubba has to run me to meet the team. And then I have to run and take a recruiting test because I hadn't taken it in 5 years. Then I got to get a staff. So I've got to interview all the coaches that are here. I've got to interview all the staff that's here. Thank goodness I had Corey Holiday and Rick and some people that I really trusted that I could ask, what about these people? Are they okay? Can we keep them? And then I kind of said to everybody, I'm going to keep you for at least 6 months and see how you do, but we got to go. And then I had to sit down with Jason and John Mark and say, who are we recruiting? And then I had to find out how many guys we got on scholarship, how many can we sign, who's in academic trouble, do we have anybody that wants to transfer, is there anybody in the portal? So it's so overwhelming that I don't think you have time to even think about, should I have done this or not? I mean, you are knee deep and they're sitting there with me going over the board saying, I said, can he play? Nah. What about him? Not very good. What about him? He's young. He might be all right. What about him? He's thinking about transferring. You know, so I'm trying. I don't know any of their names. And then I had a couple of them text me, and I didn't know who they were, and they said, "Can I have number 2?" I said, "I don't know who you are. So give me a month. Let me get back." And then when I hired Coach Hess, that really helped because he could start organizing the off season while we were recruiting. And when we got our staff in place, that helped because they all started getting to know each other. And I had known, half of them or a little bit more. So I got them first and got them out so they could recruit. But it's a real mess for that new coach now. I mean, it's just totally overwhelming. But I think probably when we beat South Carolina was a cool moment because I said, "This is cool. We got this thing again. We know what we're doing." And then we beat Miami, and I was kind of surprised with both of them, very honestly. And then I was even more surprised when we lost to Wake, who was very good. We just didn't know it at that time, and Appalachian, who we knew was good. But after that, we got back to coaching and kind of just went back to work, and I like where we are right now.
Matt, Timble's got one of the best red zone defenses in the country. You mentioned not being successful due to Sam not being running the ball. How do you counter such a great red zone?
It's an issue for us, and we're looking at it right now. And they're so physical up front. Their front seven's really good. They're older at linebacker. They're big and strong up front, and they're really, really tough. And that has not been our best mindset with goal line, especially running. So we've worked so hard the last really probably 4 weeks on improving our goal line and short yardage stuff, just because we've got to do it without Sam running. So we just went to some different stuff.
How did against State in that third quarter, Devontae being able to punch it in and a lot of those red zone trips kind of help the confidence with that?
It really helps. Even at Mercer, I do think Mercer helped us so much with confidence, even though they weren't near as good as we were. But the guys were able to see that they could accomplish a lot. So I think the last 2 weeks has been a real positive for the players' confidence.
What are your favorite stories that you've heard about yourself from the recruiting trail?
Favorite stories that I've heard about myself? I think the only thing I've heard is I'm quitting. So that's really interesting in my first year that they're talking about the end. I'm still talking about the beginning. But it's recruiting's been so much fun. I've missed it. I missed it a lot. And what we're doing, and it takes the coaches back a little bit, I try to put myself in the family's position. And I try to look at what I would want if I was them. And that's the way I've always recruited. And I told a recruit the other day, if I was you, I wouldn't come. You want to go somewhere else. You're just trying to be nice and not tell us, so I'll help you. Go. He looked at me and said, "Coach, I might want to." And I said, "No, you don't. So go. You're just afraid to tell me, and I'm going to help you. I'm going to do you a favor." So I told him for me that he wasn't coming.
Is there anything that you've changed in your approach from last time at Texas?
I think I'm even more direct. I was probably direct a lot, but I'm not. I want to get the hard questions asked and answered by families, so I just tell them, "Here's what we're going to do, and if you like it, that's great, come, and if you don't, we'll go somewhere else." I want guys that want to be here.
Coach, you were talking about how Sam wanted to know who was going to be the offensive coordinator last year. How important is it to sell the incoming recruits the next couple of cycles on a quarterback that's established here and they have the ability to see what he's done?
I think it's huge that people know without a quarterback moving forward that you're not going to be very good. And Jace is a really good player. I'm really proud of Vincent Amendola. He came so far in a short period of time with a tremendous amount of pressure. And then hopefully you sign one. Or even two, so you've got to keep quarterbacks. When we got in trouble at Texas, we started winning 8 and 9 instead of 12 and 13. It was really because we got quarterbacks injured, they transferred, and you're not as good. And you've got to be really good at that position, and you need to be 2 and 3 deep good at that position. And it's really hard. There's over 2,000 kids in the transfer portal already. I mean, it's amazing every day that. There's coaches on our staff coming to me and saying, "Here's one, are you interested in him? And here's another one, you interested in him?" So people are actually just recruiting out of the portal. And I hate that. But it's here, and it's not going to change unless the rule changes. And so keeping quarterbacks, having a great one, and then finding another one and another one. That's why I think going forward, we've got to play them. I think it's going to be really, really hard just to play one quarterback all the time and keep another one behind him unless you play him. So that's why we were going to try to play Jace till he got hurt.
Matt, you were on TV Thursday night at the awards and everything, and now you're going to be in a bowl game. Can you just talk about, you know, the exposure that North Carolina football is getting? You know, they haven't been in a bowl game, but now, you know, with all this exposure you all get.
Yes, it's a great point. One of the things that's really helped us be effective in recruiting, I think, is that I was on TV for 5 years, and the kids and families saw me. So I didn't go away. I had a presence, and it's really been interesting that they think they know me, and that I was in their home for those 5 years. And anytime ESPN wants us on, I'm going to go, because they wanted me on for game day to talk about Virginia Clemson, because we had played both to a tight game at the end, and that's what they do. They want information. And then they asked me to be on the awards ceremony for Thursday night, and that was, they wanted to talk about, they're celebrating the 150 years of college football. They wanted to ask me the changes. And then Tom asked, why'd you come back, and is it working? And so I think all of that kind of tied together with, he said, 5 decades I've been coaching, which sounds kind of scary. I hadn't counted them, but that's a long time. But I did feel like it was important to young coaches that I tell them what I've learned now that I didn't know when I was here at 35.
All right, gang. We got a couple guys.
Thank you, guys. Have a Merry Christmas.